The abduction. The plains of Montana stretched out before Commander Elias Reeve like an ocean of golden grass. After 20 years in the Terran Defense Force's Ghost Division, the quiet of his ranch felt almost surreal. He took a long pull from his coffee, watching the sunrise paint the sky in shades of amber and crimson. The silence was broken only by the distant whinny of horses and the soft hum of the security perimeter he'd installed. Old habits die hard. Elias had built this life from scratch after retiring from service. His record was classified so deeply that most military databases showed him as deceased, a convenience that suited him just fine. Only his daughter Cassandra knew the truth about the missions, the specialized training, the impossible shots he'd made. "Dad, breakfast's ready." Cassandra's voice called from inside the house. At 17, Cassandra was already showing the same keen tactical mind that had made Elias legendary. He taught her everything, not because he wanted her to follow his path, but because the universe was becoming a more dangerous place for humanity with each passing day. "Be right there, Cass," he called back, scanning the horizon one last time. That's when he saw it, a shimmer in the air about 2 miles out, distorting the tree line. Most would dismiss it as heat rising from the ground, but Elias recognized a cloaking field when he saw one. His body tensed, muscle memory kicking in. He set his coffee down and moved inside with practiced silence. Cassandra was at the stove, flipping pancakes. "Change of plans," he said calmly, though his eyes had gone cold. "Remember contingency whiskey 7. Cassandra's smile faded, replaced by focused determination. She nodded once, switched off the stove, and moved toward the pantry, which concealed an entrance to the bunker beneath the house. "How many?" she asked. "Not sure. 1 ship, at least." Elias moved to a seemingly ordinary bookcase, pressed his palm against a hidden scanner, and revealed a cache of weapons. But before either could reach safety, the air in the kitchen rippled and tore open, revealing a swirling portal of blue-green energy. 3 tall, slender figures stepped through, their skin a mottled gray, eyes large and black, wearing armor that seemed to flow like liquid metal. "Vraxians," Elias whispered, "the most advanced species in the Andromeda Galaxy, known for their technological superiority and disdain for primitive races like humans." The lead Vraxian raised a device that pulsed with energy. "Subject Cassandra Reeve, you have been selected for the Cultural Exchange Initiative. Resistance is unnecessary." Elias moved faster than the aliens anticipated, shoving Cassandra behind him and drawing a concealed sidearm in one fluid motion. "There will be no exchange today. Leave my property. Now." The Vraxian tilted its head, seemingly amused. "Fascinating. Your databases indicate Commander Elias Reeve perished during the Arcturus campaign. An error, it seems." "Not an error," Elias growled. "A convenience." He fired 3 shots in rapid succession. The first 2 were absorbed by the Vraxian's personal shield, but the third, aimed at the ceiling sprinkler, sent a cascade of water down on all of them. The liquid metal armor of the aliens began to spark and sizzle. Cassandra, trained for moments exactly like this, had already grabbed a stun baton from a hidden compartment under the kitchen island. She swung it at the nearest alien, connecting with its now vulnerable armor and sending it convulsing to the floor. But the lead Vraxian recovered quickly, pressing a sequence on its wrist device. A high-pitched whine filled the room, and Elias found himself unable to move, trapped in some kind of localized stasis field. "Primitive, but resourceful," the alien noted clinically. "The High Council will find this genetic line particularly valuable." Through sheer force of will, Elias fought against the paralysis, managing to twitch his fingers as the second Vraxian grabbed Cassandra. She fought wildly, landing several solid blows, but the alien was stronger, lifting her effortlessly. "Dad," she screamed, still struggling. "Your offspring will be treated well," the lead Vraxian assured Elias. "The Dominion values intelligence, even in lesser species." The portal flickered open again. Elias broke one arm free from the stasis field, a feat that should have been impossible, and lurched forward. "You don't understand," he gasped, fighting against the invisible force holding him back. "I'm not a soldier anymore." The Vraxian paused, genuinely curious. "Then what are you?" Elias's eyes locked with Cassandra's. In them was a promise, one she recognized immediately. Her struggling ceased, replaced by a calm certainty. "I'm a father," Elias said simply. "And you've just made the last mistake of your existence." The portal closed behind them, leaving Elias alone in his kitchen, water still raining down from the sprinklers. The stasis field dissipated, and he collapsed to his knees, letting out a roar of rage and anguish that echoed across the empty plains. 5 minutes later, he was in his basement, punching in the access code to a reinforced titanium door that hadn't been opened in 7 years. It hissed as the seal broke, revealing a small room lined with specialized equipment, weapons that didn't officially exist, and a matte black suit hanging in a vacuum-sealed chamber. An old communication terminal blinked to life as he approached. A message waited, sent 3 minutes ago from a secured channel that only 5 people in the entire solar system had access to. "They've taken 3 children from Earth," read the text. "The Vraxian Dominion believes humans are docile. This is a test of our response capabilities." Elias didn't need to read more. As he suited up, muscle memory guiding each movement, he mentally cataloged everything he knew about the Vraxians. Their homeworld was 16 light-years away. Their ships were the fastest in known space. Their technology was centuries beyond Earth's. None of that would save them. 3 hours later, Elias stood in the hangar of the secret Earth defense facility deep beneath the Movav Desert. Before him was an experimental stealth vessel, sleek, black, and designed specifically for solo operations. "This hasn't been field-tested," warned Director Chen, a stern-faced woman who had been his handler during the Arcturus campaign. "The cloaking technology is reverse-engineered from a downed Vraxian scout ship. It might not fool their sensors for long." "I don't need long," Elias replied, checking the specialized arsenal he had selected. "Just enough time to remind them why humans were quarantined from galactic society for a century." Chen's expression softened slightly. "The diplomatic corps wants this handled discreetly. The Vraxian Dominion controls trade routes we need." Elias secured his custom rifle, a weapon capable of firing in vacuum, underwater, or through most known energy shields. "I'll be discreet. They'll never know I was there." "Until they count their dead," Chen muttered. "They took my daughter," Elias said, his voice suddenly cold enough to freeze nitrogen. "They're lucky I'm only planning to take her back." The ship's engines hummed to life as Elias settled into the pilot's seat. The neural interface activated, connecting directly with his implants, another unofficial enhancement from his Ghost Division days. "Plot course for the Vraxian diplomatic outpost in the Kuiper Belt," he instructed the ship's eye. "Maximum stealth protocols. No communication with Earth until mission complete." "Course plotted," replied the AI. Estimated arrival: 47 minutes. As the hangar doors opened above him, revealing the star-filled sky, Elias felt a familiar calm settle over him. He had been many things in his life: soldier, assassin, operative, hunter, but never had he been more dangerous than he was now, a father with nothing to lose and everything to fight for. The ship rose silently into the night, disappearing from Earth's sensors even before breaking atmosphere. In its wake, Director Chen whispered a phrase that had become something of a legend among those few who knew the truth about humanity's hidden guardians. "Heaven help those who mistake our patience for weakness." The Vraxian diplomatic outpost orbiting Pluto was a marvel of alien engineering, a crystalline structure that seemed to float effortlessly against the backdrop of space, shimmering with energy fields and bustling with activity. It served as the official point of contact between humanity and the Vraxian Dominion, though in reality it was a thinly veiled intelligence-gathering operation. Elias's ship drifted toward it, invisible to conventional sensors. The Vraxians believed their technology to be impenetrable, which made them careless. Scanning frequencies showed they were using standard protocols. No heightened security, no indication they expected any response to their abduction operation. They had no idea what was coming. Using a maintenance docking port on the station's underside, Elias executed a perfect silent breach. His suit, designed to mimic the electromagnetic signature of Vraxian technology, allowed him to move through their security systems like a ghost. Inside, the station was eerily beautiful, curved corridors of what appeared to be flowing glass, soft ambient light emanating from nowhere and everywhere at once. Elias moved with purpose, following the station schematic his neural implant had constructed from Earth's intelligence database. Two Vraxian technicians rounded a corner, engaged in conversation. Their language was a series of clicks and whistles, but Elias's implant translated. Third specimen is showing remarkable adaptability. The High Council was correct to target this species. Still, they are primitive. Barely a century of spaceflight. Primitive, yes, but resourceful. The elder female offspring disabled a neural probe using only the metals from her clothing fasteners. Elias felt a surge of pride. That would be Cassandra, always finding a way, just as he taught her. The technicians passed without noticing him, his suit's camouflage adjusting perfectly to his surroundings. He continued toward the central section of the station where, according to the thermal signatures, the holding cells would be located. A security checkpoint loomed ahead, manned by 4 Vraxian guards. This would require precision. From a compartment in his suit, Elias removed a small device, one of Earth's few technological advantages, a quantum distortion emitter. The moment he activated it, the station's systems went haywire. Lights flickered, security panels flashed warnings, and communication channels filled with static. The guards abandoned their post, rushing toward what they perceived as a critical system failure. Elias slipped past them and into the restricted area beyond. There, through a translucent barrier, he saw them, 3 human teenagers, each in a separate containment cell. Cassandra was in the center, sitting cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed in what appeared to be meditation. But Elias recognized her posture. She was conserving energy, staying alert, waiting for an opportunity, just as he taught her. Before he could make his move, a new figure entered the detention area, taller than the others, wearing ornate armor that flowed like quicksilver, a Vraxian commander, judging by the deference shown by the guards. "Prepare the specimens for transport to the homeworld," the commander ordered. The High Council grows impatient for results. Elias's mind raced. If they moved Cassandra to the Vraxian homeworld, extracting her would become exponentially more difficult. He needed to act now, but with 3 children to protect, the risk factors multiplied. Then Cassandra opened her eyes, looking directly at the spot where Elias stood concealed. It should have been impossible. His suit rendered him invisible to both Vraxian technology and the human eye. But somehow, she sensed him. She gave the smallest of nods, then did something unexpected. She began to sing. The melody was hauntingly beautiful, echoing through the detention area. The Vraxians turned toward her, fascinated by this strange behavior. The other 2 teenagers, a boy and a girl, both younger than Cassandra, looked equally confused. But Elias recognized the song instantly. It wasn't just any song. It was a coded message taught to Cassandra years ago. Each verse, each inflection conveyed specific information. The number of guards, the rotation of security protocols, the weak points she had identified. In the guise of an Earth folk song, she was giving him everything he needed to plan his assault. The Vraxian commander approached her cell, head tilted in curiosity. "Fascinating. Is this a ritual of your species?" Cassandra smiled serenely, never breaking rhythm as she continued to sing. And in the shadows, unseen and unexpected, Elias Reeve, the ghost of Andromeda, humanity's deadliest sentinel, prepared to show the Vraxian dominion exactly why taking his daughter had been the greatest miscalculation in their species' long history. The reckoning. The Vraxian commander leaned closer to the containment field, transfixed by Cassandra's song. Behind his camouflage, Elias moved with practiced precision, placing small devices at strategic points throughout the detention area. Each one no larger than a thumbnail, they were Earth's answer to Vraxian shield technology. Quantum disruptors that, when activated simultaneously, would create a cascading failure in the station's energy grid. "Your vocalization patterns are quite complex," the commander said to Cassandra. "Perhaps we underestimated your species' communication abilities." Cassandra finished her song with a haunting final note that hung in the air. "We're full of surprises," she replied calmly, her eyes briefly flicking to where her father stood invisible. "Humans often appear simple until we're not." The commander's mouth formed what might have been a smile on a human face. "The High Council will be pleased. Your adaptability confirms our selection criteria." "And what exactly did you select us for?" asked the boy in the adjacent cell. He couldn't have been older than 14, but his voice was steady despite his obvious fear. "Advancement," replied the commander. "Your species shows potential, but lacks direction. The Dominion guides promising races toward enlightenment by kidnapping children." The third captive, a girl with dark skin and fierce eyes, gripped the edge of her containment field, causing it to shimmer slightly. The commander waved dismissively. "A temporary measure. Your world governments would never willingly submit to evaluation. They lack the vision to see beyond their planetary concerns." Elias had heard enough. Humanity had encountered this superiority complex before among spacefaring species. It never ended well for them. He pressed a sequence on his wrist computer. The quantum disruptors activated in perfect synchronization, and the results were immediate. The containment fields flickered and died. Emergency lights bathed the room in pulsing crimson. Alarms screamed throughout the station. The commander spun around, barking orders in the Vraxian native tongue, too rapid for Elias's translator to process. Guards rushed toward the cells as the three teenagers instinctively huddled together. That's when Elias dropped his camouflage. The shock on the Vraxian faces might have been comical under different circumstances. One moment there was nothing. The next stood a human warrior in midnight black armor, twin plasma daggers humming to life in his hands. "Human," the commander hissed, drawing a weapon of his own, a sleek silver device that crackled with energy. "Not just any human," Elias replied, his voice amplified through his helmet's external speakers. "I'm the one you should have researched before taking my daughter." He moved faster than the Vraxians could track, a blur of lethal precision. The first two guards fell before they could raise their weapons, the plasma daggers slicing through their liquid metal armor as if it were cloth. The third managed to fire a single shot that Elias deflected with a dagger, sending it ricocheting into the station's control panel. "Cassandra, Protocol Omega," Elias called out as he engaged the fourth guard. Without hesitation, Cassandra grabbed both younger teens. "Stay close and do exactly as I say," she instructed, pulling them toward an access panel that Elias had already disabled during his infiltration. The commander fired a concentrated energy beam that caught Elias in the shoulder, scorching his armor but failing to penetrate it. Elias responded by throwing one of his daggers with unerring accuracy, pinning the commander's firing arm to the wall behind him. "Impossible," the alien gasped, black eyes wide with shock. "Your technology isn't as primitive as you thought." Elias finished for him, advancing slowly. "Neither are we." More Vraxians poured into the detention area, weapons ready. Elias glanced at the access panel, confirming that Cassandra had successfully escaped with the other children. Now it was time for Phase 2. He raised his hand, revealing a small detonator. "Here's a human concept you might want to study: diversion." Before the commander could respond, Elias pressed the button. Throughout the station, carefully placed explosives activated, not to destroy, but to create chaos. Environmental systems went haywire. Gravity fluctuated wildly. communication arrays broadcast nothing but static. In the confusion, Elias vanished again, his suit's camouflage reactivating as he slipped into a maintenance shaft. The station's layout was complex, but Elias moved through it with confidence, guided by the three-dimensional map projected onto his helmet's heads-up display. Cassandra would be leading the others to the pre-arranged extraction point, a secondary docking bay on the station's eastern quadrant, where his ship waited. As he navigated through the bowels of the station, Elias encountered a different species, a Krull engineer, squat and amphibian-like, working frantically to restore systems. The Krull looked up as Elias appeared, dropping his camouflage to avoid startling the creature into raising an alarm. Human. The Krull croaked, multifaceted eyes blinking rapidly. "You cannot be here." "I'm leaving," Elias assured him, keeping his weapon lowered. "I have no quarrel with the Krull Confederacy." The engineer studied him for a moment. "The children. You come for them." Elias nodded once. To his surprise, the Krull made a gesture that his translator identified as approval. The Vraxians forget. Before their ascension, they too were specimens for elder races. Now they repeat history's mistakes. "Will you raise the alarm?" Elias asked, prepared to neutralize the engineer if necessary. The Krull turned back to his work. "Systems are unexplainably damaged. Repairs will take time. Much time." He didn't look up again, deliberately focusing on a panel that Elias could see was perfectly functional. Elias continued on, moving through the station like a shadow. The Vraxians were in disarray, their usually immaculate coordination shattered by the simultaneous failures of systems they had always considered infallible. When he reached the extraction point, he found Cassandra standing guard over the two younger teens, an appropriated Vraxian weapon held competently in her hands. "Took you long enough," she said with a hint of a smile, the relief in her eyes betraying her casual tone. "Had to take the scenic route," Elias replied, checking the corridors behind them. "Status: Emma is unharmed," Cassandra reported, gesturing to the dark-skinned girl. "Tyler has some minor burns from attempting to short-circuit his containment field before you arrived. Both are ready for extraction." Elias nodded, impressed as always by his daughter's composure. He turned to the two other teenagers. "I'm Commander Reeve. I'm here to take you home, but we're not clear yet. Can you follow orders?" Both nodded, wide-eyed but determined. "Good. Our ship is docked 50 meters from here. We move fast, we stay tight, and we leave no evidence." "Understood." "Yes, sir," they replied in unison. As they prepared to move, a calm voice echoed through the corridor. "Commander Elias Reeve, Ghost Division, Terran Defense Force, officially deceased during the Arcturus campaign." They turned to find the Vraxian commander standing alone, his wounded arm hanging limply at his side. His liquid metal armor was damaged, revealing gray skin beneath. "Your reputation, it seems, was not exaggerated," the commander continued. "Few beings have ever breached a Vraxian diplomatic outpost. None have done so and lived." Elias pushed the teenagers behind him. "There's always a first time." The commander's black eyes narrowed. "You misunderstand. I am not here to stop you." This was unexpected. Elias kept his weapon trained on the alien. "Explain." "The abduction was unauthorized," the commander said, "initiated by a faction within our government that believes humanity must be guided more forcefully into the galactic community." "And you expect me to believe you weren't part of this?" Elias demanded. The commander straightened to his full height, nearly 7 feet tall. "I follow the Dominion's laws, even when I disagree with them. This operation violated our most sacred principle, non-interference with developing species." Cassandra stepped forward, ignoring her father's warning glance. "You were going to transport us to your homeworld." "For your return," the commander replied. "The faction has been neutralized. I was sent to correct their error." Elias didn't lower his weapon. "Convenient timing. Not convenience. Efficiency." The commander gestured to the corridor behind him. Your intrusion provided perfect cover for my own mission. The High Council sends its formal apologies for this violation of sovereignty. The teenagers look to Elias, waiting for his decision. This could be a trap, or it could be the truth. The Vraxian Dominion was known for its strict adherence to its own laws, even when those laws seemed incomprehensible to other species. After a moment of tense silence, Elias made his choice. We're leaving. Now, if you're telling the truth, you won't try to stop us. I will not, the commander confirmed. But know this, Commander Reeve. Your actions today have been noted. Humanity has revealed capabilities beyond our estimations. The Dominion will be reassessing. Good, Elias said simply. Tell your High Council that Earth's children are off-limits. Any future cultural exchanges will be conducted through proper diplomatic channels, or not at all. The commander inclined his head slightly. A gesture of acknowledgement, not submission. The message will be delivered. Elias kept his weapon trained on the Vraxian as he guided the teenagers toward the docking bay. The commander made no move to follow, standing motionless until they disappeared around a corner. Once aboard the ship, Elias sealed the airlock and ran a quick sweep for tracking devices. Finding none, he initiated the launch sequence. Strap in, he instructed the teens as he took the pilot's seat. Departure might get bumpy. Will they pursue us? Tyler asked nervously. Elias checked the sensor readings. I don't think so. But we're not taking chances. The ship detached from the station with a soft thud, immediately engaging its stealth systems. On the view screen, the crystalline structure of the Vraxian outpost gleamed against the darkness, showing no signs of pursuit or weapons activation. Was he telling the truth? Cassandra asked quietly, taking the co-pilot's seat. About it being unauthorized. Elias considered the question as he plotted their course back to Earth. Possibly. The Vraxians are complicated. Their internal politics make ours look straightforward. But it doesn't matter. They've been warned. What happens when we get home? Emma asked from behind them. Will other aliens come for us? No, Elias said with quiet certainty, because the word will spread. Not through official channels, but through the whispers that travel faster than light among the spacefaring races. What whispers? Tyler leaned forward eagerly. Cassandra answered for her father. That humans protect their own. That we're not as primitive as they think. That taking a human child brings consequences no advanced technology can prevent. Elias nodded, setting the final coordinates for Earth. Exactly. We may not have the fastest ships or the most powerful weapons, but we have something many older species have forgotten. What's that? Emma asked. Determination, Elias replied, and a willingness to do the impossible when necessary. As the ship accelerated toward home, leaving the Kuiper Belt behind, a message was transmitted from the Vraxian outpost to the Dominion's homeworld. It contained only a few lines, but they would change the course of human-alien relations for generations to come. Human defense capabilities grossly underestimated. Subject Elias Reeve demonstrated technology and tactics previously unknown. Recommend immediate reclassification of human threat level. All further contact to be conducted with extreme caution. The specimens have been returned as ordered, but the message was delivered. Earth is not undefended, merely patient. Back on Earth, 3 days later, Director Chen stood on the porch of Elias's Montana ranch, watching Cassandra help the horses in the distant paddock. The official story is that the 3 teenagers were on an unauthorized camping trip, she told Elias. Their parents have been briefed with a modified version of events. As far as the public knows, there was no alien abduction. Elias sipped his coffee, watching his daughter with pride. And unofficially, we've received formal diplomatic communications from the Vraxian Dominion for the first time in 15 years. They're proposing a new treaty, one that acknowledges humanity's right to develop without interference. They're scared, Elias observed. Chen smiled thinly. They should be. Your little rescue operation caused quite a stir among the galactic community. We've had inquiries from 3 other species seeking to establish or improve relations with Earth. Not the outcome they expected when they took those kids, Elias said, satisfaction evident in his voice. No, Chen agreed. They thought they were abducting specimens from a primitive species. Instead, they awakened something they don't understand. And what's that? Chen looked out across the Montana plains, where humanity had once fought its own wars before reaching for the stars. The thing that makes humans different from every other species we've encountered. We don't just adapt to the universe, Commander Reeve. We make the universe adapt to us. As if to punctuate her words, Cassandra let out a joyful whoop as she galloped across the field on horseback, her recent ordeal seemingly forgotten. But Elias knew better. His daughter wasn't the same girl she'd been before the abduction. None of the teenagers were. They had seen beyond Earth's atmosphere, beyond the comfortable lies of a planet still coming to terms with its place in the galaxy. They had seen humanity's future, a future where Earth would no longer be dismissed as a backwater world inhabited by primitive beings, a future where the name human would be spoken with respect, perhaps even a touch of fear among the stars. And it had all begun because someone had made the fatal mistake of taking the human child without understanding what they were truly taking, the most precious treasure of a species that had survived extinction-level events, world wars, and its own self-destructive tendencies. A species that, when pushed, could produce warriors like Elias Reeve, the ghost of Andromeda, the sentinel of Earth, and above all else, a father who would tear apart the galaxy to protect what was his.